Oh, yeah. I think we're live, sir. Ooh. Yeah. Not sure what this is all about. Let me just get my chat fucking ready. I had a few technical difficulties there, but we're all set. And poor Maya. I mean, the beard doesn't come off when Maya's not around.
That would be a waste, man.
I'm not going to do that. I'm like, you know what? When I mentioned that to the lady of the house, she was like, "Hey, what's up, Tiff? You are the first one." When I mentioned that to the lady of the house, she's like, "Well, can't you wait until after Vegas?" I'm like, "Oh, so you like the beard after all, do you?" Linda says,
Same
"Hello,
here,
Bill.
Man.
Did you hear anything from Jack Daniels yet? If not, I will write again. This is my quest. I think I might try Canada Dry also. I love it." Linda, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's hard to.
It really is so cool.
Hard to let the beard go.
Yeah, dude, I look like I'm 19 years old if I have a clean-shaven face. I can't do it.
Oh, here's Alicia. Yeah. About to get fired up about Thursday Night Football. She wanted to be here for the Thursday Night Football chat. Let's just give it
Who's
another
Alicia
minute.
a fan of?
Raiders.
Oh. Oh, yeah, she's in Cali, huh?
Hey, Olga. Guys, I need your help. I need you to tell your friends about this channel. And also, let us know what you want to see more. We kind of wing it. We just launched it a couple of months ago. So right now we're just kind of winging it, feeling it out. And I think we'd like to get to more of a format-based type show with some winging it involved. But, feel free to let us know what kind of stuff you want to see from a football-related show. Alicia's going to the fucking Christmas game. Raiders at Eagles. Christmas. That is so amazing, dude.
Fuck, yeah. That's depending on how Oakland continues to turn around. If David or Derek Carr keeps playing like that, man, that'll be a fucking two playoff teams going for a top seed.
Yeah, I circled that game in as a loss in the preseason. You know what I mean? So either way, I think it'll be good football. But the Raiders, I like the Raiders. I have the last couple of years. I've been excited about what's been going on there, and I like rooting for them. Like, I'm not a hater, except for the Cowboys. I'm not a hater. I like football teams. I like seeing men that go out there and play their asses off, trying to fucking, it's just incredible. So I was excited to see the Raiders play like that last night and salvage their season. Like, they've got a long way to go, but that was a huge win for them. And I like seeing Derek Carr and Amari Cooper go off. How about you?
Oh yeah. Well, first off, like I enjoy watching the Raiders play, and I'm also a fan of Jack Del Rio, just coming from Jacksonville. I just like the way he coaches.
Me too.
I mean, we agree on a lot of this, like that aggressive style coaching.
Yeah.
Last year against the Saints, when he's like, "I'm going for 2, fuck you guys," and he fucking won.
Week 1, right?
Like, that was awesome. Yep.
That's how he.
But yeah,
that really set the tone for the season last year. He could have taken the XP really and tied it and gone into overtime, and he said, "Nope." Yeah, I love Del Rio. I love Carr. I mean, gets a little overboard with the religious stuff sometimes in the interviews, but for my taste anyway. But he's a good guy and he's a good leader. He's a man. Yep.
Yeah. So I think the Raiders have a lot to look forward to. And last night, even though there's some controversy at the end, I mean, they won that game, man. They came back. So
yeah, they did.
It was good to see Amari Cooper kind of get out of his funk, even though he still had a couple drops. Like he played well, and Carr looked like last year's Carr finally.
Yeah, the Chiefs had a chance to win that game several times too, and they didn't. But it's not. I'll tell you who it's not on. It's not on Alex Smith. Nothing's changed in my opinion about him. He still looks like, in my opinion, the front runner for MVP. He's just playing it out of his mind. Best season of his career by a mile. He just looks so good. He's making the guys around. I mean, Albert Wilson's becoming a household name. You know what I mean? It's like that's all you need to know about what he's doing. He's making it happen. Kareem Hunt had, as far as Kareem Hunt goes, a quiet night, and they still put up 30 points. So props to Alex Smith. The defense needs to come up in those spots, though. You're on the road against a division rival. You got to stop them, and you didn't.
I didn't think we'd get to a point while Alex Smith was in Kansas City where the defense has been a liability in a few games.
You're 2 years removed from no wide receiver touchdowns in the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've come a long way.
Learned from the whole Kaepernick situation where he didn't want to get replaced, and so everything that everyone said, they brought in Mahomes because he can throw a deep ball and he can open up the offense. Alex Smith said, you know what? Fuck you guys. This is what I can do. And I've loved Alex Smith since he played at Utah, man. He's one of those guys you like to root for.
Yeah.
Personally. But Tyreek Hill got off yesterday too.
Yeah, he did. And that's kind of what I've come to expect from him. He's going to have his more quiet games, but then he's going to have games like that. And you never know. Like, they have to account for him at all times, because if you don't, that's what you can get. He's a big play machine. Either way, props to the Raiders.
Explosive.
They're keeping things interesting, which I like. And, my opinion hasn't changed on the Chiefs. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, come down on them just because they just lost 2 weeks in a row, in my opinion, to really good teams. I believe in the Steelers. And the Raiders just kind of finally looked last night like what we expected of them this year. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not freaking out. Yeah. And it was on the road on a short week. I'm not freaking out about the Chiefs. I still think right now they're the class of the AFC, but things are still open. It's early in the season yet. We're not even at the halfway point. So good news for the Raiders, not worrying about the Chiefs just yet. Anything fantasy-wise we want to touch on? I mean, we touched on Amari Cooper. I think the question is, are you trying to deal him, or are you hanging on because you think maybe that's a sign of things to come?
I think you sell him high if you can. Otherwise, I don't think you'll be disappointed hanging on to him. I mean, The drops is something to think about, but the targets are still there. So you're going to get production out of him. It's just a matter of, do you want to take a risk? Can you get value that's worth it, that's a little more consistent? So it's one of those, you can't go wrong either way, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. Alicia says can't count on AC. I'm not there yet. He had a few really down weeks. That kind of stuff can happen. I mean, let's think about Odell Beckham last year. You know what I mean? the whole like net fiasco. He had a slow start. Great players can have rough stretches. It happens. It happens to the best of them. But I think he's proven enough in his first few years, or a couple years, I guess, for us to go, I think he's still the real deal. And it's a slump. And if I had to bet, I would bet he can correct it and finish strong. And things can happen. Yeah.
Like if he stays healthy, man, like Amari Cooper is going to continue 8 to 15 targets a game, just depending on how much they have the ball on offense and what kind of game it is. But
yeah,
Carr loves him. Like it's obvious. He throws him the ball so much. So, and he's a supreme athlete.
Yep.
Cooper has the run after catch ability. He runs amazing routes. So the catching thing, it's not like he has had issues maybe in the NFL he's had more drop issues, but he's been short-handed before. I think he'll fix it.
Yeah. Alicia says, I'd take Crabtree over Cooper. That's just a great problem to have if you're a football fan. You know what I mean? Like, because I would take either on my team. You know what I mean? And I know you'd say the same thing, Chris.
Hell yeah.
Those are two legit number one receivers that I would love to have on my team. Mike Palmer says, I'm in Indy, and there is major buzz around Marlon Mack, but don't know if he will get enough touches to make him fantasy worthy. I don't either, but everything I read is he's a stash player. Like, you should own him. And, God forbid anything happens to Frank Gore, that's an exciting player. Anything to add to that, Chris?
I think definitely stash him if you have the spot to stash him, because I know Frank Gore seems like he's the ageless wonder, but as the season goes on, it's proven, it happens year after year, that the rookie running backs get more touches towards the end of the season. And Marlon Mack, he has so much ability. He's impressive when he gets the ball in his hand. So I think he could be valuable come playoff time.
Yep. Yeah, if you got the space,
in fantasy,
hang on to him.
So week 12.
Absolutely. Alicia says, here's a question. What do we do with Lynch? Drop him? He was needed last night at the end of the fourth to run beast mode and into the end zone, but instead he's watching from the stands. Okay. I'm still not dropping Marshawn Lynch. I'm not even thinking about it. He's Marshawn fucking Lynch. I mean, am I missing anything here?
No.
The thing, especially with last night's performance, if that team's going to start clicking and make a run, he's going to be getting those goal line touches. I am not dropping him. He's got a 1-game suspension. No big deal. He'll be back after a week. Carr and Amari Cooper got it rolling. The defense had a couple of big stops. The point is, offensively, they were moving the ball last night against one of the better defenses in the league. So I'm hanging on to Marshawn Lynch, and I think he might show some value down the stretch here.
Well, especially if Derek Carr and Amari Cooper have this chemistry going, because if they're scoring a lot, they're going to have leads in games, and who you pound it with? Beast mode. And we saw what he did in Seattle, man. He took over fourth quarters.
Yep. He'll get his. His second half of the season will be way better than his first. No doubt about it.
Alicia, I wouldn't buy into all the drama, honestly.
Yeah. I don't think he's screwing up the mojo at all. And if you listen closely, like, Derek Carr loves him. He absolutely loves Lynch, you know what I mean? That's a brotherhood there, and I think Lynch loves him back too. You know what I mean? Just, is he a little more animated and vocal and all that? Yeah, but, I'm not going to fault the guy for, he doesn't have a history of, like, getting into trouble for running on the field, you know what I mean, in skirmishes and stuff. It's just, it was a fluky type thing. he can still run with some power, and he'll get that goal line work. And the offense is starting to move. So, yeah, to sum it up, hanging on to him, not even thinking about dropping Marshawn Lynch.
Agreed.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about some Week 7 matchups, Chris. And let's do some quick picks. Right. Okay? I'm just going to take from the top here. Tampa Bay at Buffalo. Give me your pick, and then, one fantasy player you want to touch on.
This one's a toss-up for me, but I'm going to go Buffalo. They're at home, and I think McCoy has a big game. He's due. He's due for one. Tampa Bay still beat up on defense. I think McCoy kind of gets back to shady business.
Yeah.
I'll say like 15 points plus.
Sounds good. I also like Buffalo in that game, but I'm looking for Doug Martin to keep it rolling. He's looked good his first few weeks back. I like me some Duggernutt. We got Carolina and Chicago.
Carolina. And
fair enough.
Are we looking for a bus, or I mean, just like guys that we think are going to perform well, or can we
either or
about the other way?
Either or. If you think there's a guy that's going to underperform or overperform,
I think Jordan Howard's going to have a rough week.
Good call.
I think Carolina is going to come back pissed.
Yeah, and I think they just outmatched Chicago. Also taking Carolina, and do we have any word on Kelvin Benjamin? He missed a couple of practices this week. Little concerning for me. I'm just looking it up real quick. I really like what I've been seeing out of Kelvin Benjamin. Right now he's listed as questionable. And he had 9 catches on 13 targets last week. That's just insane volume. Oh, he was a full participant at Friday's practice, but listed as questionable for Sunday's game.
Well, I think one thing that's underrated about him right now is with Olsen going out, you're your third down guy that you need to get the first downs. Newton is looking at Benjamin. He's getting those targets because it's not all. It used to be just like, I'm going to throw him a 40-yard bomb and he'll come down with it a majority of the time if it's a decent throw from Newton. But now he's getting it everywhere, man.
Yeah. Here's a big matchup. Tennessee at Cleveland. Sounds like Derrick Henry getting the start.
Is he? Not see that. Holy shit.
I think I heard good preparation here on our part, but I'm pretty sure I heard DeMarco Murray's out.
Well, in that case, fucking play Henry. Because when he's getting over 20 carries, he's owning everyone. You saw what he did against Jacksonville last week. He put up like $135 and a touchdown.
So he practiced Friday in limited capacity. His status for the weekend looks like it come down to a game time decision. Keep your eye on that. If you own Derrick Henry, I don't care who you need to take out of your lineup to plug him in if DeMarco Murray is not active, because Derrick Henry's ready to bust. All he needs is the workload.
Honestly, sorry, man, I'd play him anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, Cleveland, you're not winning.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Okay.
Interesting match. New Orleans at Green Bay. A lot of people are coming out getting cute saying maybe Brett Hundley's going to get something going, but New Orleans looked pretty damn good the last few weeks. They started out 0-2. They're now 3-2, moving the ball really well, and the defense is, even though they've allowed some points, they're getting a lot of takeaways and shit, so I'm kind of high on New Orleans right now. In fact, I'm a little worried about them as a team, as an Eagles fan. I'm taking New Orleans, and I really don't understand where all the Green Bay love's coming from.
I'm with you. This New Orleans, the last few weeks, especially against the Lions last week, is reminding me of Sean Payton's first year.
Yeah.
After Hurricane Katrina, they were forcing turnovers after turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking dangerous. And Drew Brees is Drew Brees, man.
Yeah.
You give him the ball enough, you force turnovers, he's gonna move it down the field. So
the fantasy option that
New
I like
Orleans
in
is
this,
gonna win this.
yeah, the fantasy option I like in this game is New Orleans D. I went and picked them up a couple of places to stream them this week. And I don't hate Brett Hundley, but look, Aaron Rodgers is that team. They put some nice pieces around him, but ultimately we've seen what happens when he's not starting for the Green Bay Packers, and I think the record's 3-7-1. So against a soaring Saints team, I like the Saints D. They've done more against worse teams, or against better teams rather. So I think they should have a field day, and Brett Hundley's in for a long day. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. The Jags should win this pretty handily from what I've seen. Colts are 2-4, having trouble moving the ball. Defense hasn't really been great. Jacksonville D, on the other hand, has done some really great things in several weeks. And, as long as Fournette's okay and they continue to lean on that run game, I think Fournette should go nuts.
Yeah, Jacksonville's trend this season is amazingly played defensive game, poorly defensive game the next week, and so this week they're due.
Yeah,
they're up against an Indianapolis team that can't, like, the yards per carry. I think it's 3 or less they're averaging. They're just not running the ball well. I mean,
yeah.
And so Jacoby Brissett against that secondary, yeah, no.
That the thing that sucks for me is I'm forced to play T.Y. Hilton this week.
Ugh.
I mean,
Because of
like
buys?
literally forced by an injury. Unless Kelvin Benjamin comes out clear 100%, then I will swap those two players. My other two receivers being Des Bryant and Fitzgerald. But right now, Benjamin's a little volatile, so I have to keep a close eye on that. Anyway, yeah, rough go for Indianapolis in that game.
Yeah,
really.
For fantasy-wise, I would say it's a week to stream the Jags defense. I mean, you can't really stream them because a lot of people have picked up, but yeah, they're going to 10+ out of a defense.
The next game we've got the Cardinals at Rams. Now, this is a London game, I'm correct?
Yes.
I feel like this is a London game. I'm looking on the website right now to see.
I feel like the Rams play one every year, just like Jacksonville.
So the thing, I don't know what to think about this game after last week because Arizona looked incredible. Adrian Peterson, their new workhorse running back, they moved the ball with ease and scored a lot of points. I mean, yeah, Tampa Bay came back and put up some points, but I really am not worried about that too much. They've got one of the best corners in the league, pretty decent D line, and yeah, the offense was just firing on all cylinders. But LA has been really consistent. Nice 4-2 record. They've beaten a couple of good teams. They've had some exciting games. And I don't know how to pick this other than to say I'm going to go with the hot hand. I really liked what I saw out of Arizona, and I'm looking to AP to continue what he's done. Give me something.
I think this is like a game of the week, man. Not the game because Atlanta, New England is, but this is gonna be a fun game to watch. And I agree with you. I'm on the hype train. Like AP is making Arizona. He brings the balance they needed because their running back situation was an absolute shithole. So I think it's actually going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah. Let me
And
ask you, if they have another win like last week and AP looks as good, are we taking them seriously?
yes,
Yeah.
I'm already like looking at Arizona as competing for the NFC West championship. So it AP's for real, man. I don't care what anyone says. New
They're
Orleans didn't use him right.
well, I mean, when you look at it, they're only one game behind LA. If they win this, then they're in the lead of the division. So I think I'm with you on that train.
Yeah.
Really interesting. That division is so close.
And I
Seattle
think we
3-2.
agree on that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, we do agree on it.
We agree on if there's a team that to root for, it's Arizona because of Palmer,
Yep.
Fitzgerald, AP. Like that's
Yeah, totally.
those are
If the Eagles, yeah, of course, you put your own team first, especially in the NFC. For me, but if the Eagles can't get it done, then that's who I want to see. I want to, and most of all, Fitzgerald. That's just a guy I want to see put that ring on, hoist that trophy in the air. He deserves it, probably more than any player in the league. Okay, moving on. So yeah, think the Arizona Cardinals can win, and I'm rooting for them to win. It's going to be a fun game. Unfortunately, it looks like it's still going to be on at 1. It's just like a later London game, which sucks because I actually like it when there's football on. For me at 7 a.m. It's fun because I usually go to work at 7 a.m. on Sundays. So when I can turn the TV on, you know what I mean, and have some football going, that's awesome.
yeah, no, I agree. I love that.
Here you
All
go.
day.
Jets at Dolphins. I think Jay Ajayi is going to have a better outing this time. They're at home. As long as Gase gets his shit together and continues to give him 20 plus carries, Ajayi should be amazing. And I think, Miami coming off of a comeback win at Atlanta versus the Jets losing to the Patriots, I'm just going to roll with the home team and the hot hand, even though they're both kind of garbage this year. Give me Miami.
Yeah. I'm impressed with how Josh McCown has played for the Jets. He's actually been I mean he's had his turnovers, but he's better quarterback play than they've seen in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Like besides Fitzpatrick at the end of 2 seasons ago, who was on fire, but he's better than what we expected. But I agree. Give 20 plus carries to Ajayi. I was down on him early in the season, but he's looking like he was last year when he got hot. I'm gonna go with Miami on this one too because I think their defensive line is kind of Cameron Wake's wrecking people right now. So
Okay. Cool. Ravens at Minnesota. I like the Vikings. Case Keenum, I think, is doing fine. He's doing what they need. And Jerick McKinnon has done a really nice job filling in for Dalvin Cook, who went down. And overall, I just think they're a solid squad. I don't think Baltimore is solid. Their defense has shown flashes, but I think at Minnesota, it's going to be just too much for them. Even with Stephon Diggs out, I think Minnesota can win this pretty convincingly. So I'm going to take Minnesota, and I think Jerick McKinnon should have a nice day, as well as Adam Thielen. Go ahead.
yeah, I don't understand the hype behind Baltimore. It seems like every season. I feel like their team has stayed pretty much the same for like 8 years, and their team is old, man. So I agree. I don't think Joe Flacco is even above an average quarterback. And Minnesota has a terrorizing defense. So Minnesota's going to win the game. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Case Keenum starts looking at Kyle Rudolph this week.
Yeah,
Big
he
game for
started.
him.
I think he did last week too, though. I mean, especially with Stephon Diggs out. That's a good call out. I think Rudolph will see even more targets. And Jerick McKinnon probably sees some more targets in the passing game. So, I mean, I wish I would have gotten in on
the
you know what?
game.
That really irritates me. I think we touched on this last week, but he's had those opportunities the last 2 years when it was AP going down or being suspended. And he never showed there was so much talk about, oh, they really like him, they like what he can do and he's so athletic, but it never really turned into any fantasy value. So I didn't aggressively go after him this year, and he looks amazing. I mean, he's kind of that like Devontae Freeman find this year, you know what I mean? Like he's doing it on the ground and through the air, and they're moving the ball well enough, and he's getting the touches, and it's just wish I would have got him because that's a waiver wire pickup that can help you win your league. So far, anyway. Let's see if it continues. But I like them, and I think with Green Bay out, the division's theirs to win, to be honest.
Yeah, Case Keenum is taking advantage of having McKinnon, and I think that's been kind of the issue in the past, too. They had Asiata, who was getting goal line carries, so then you're losing those touchdowns. And then they didn't throw to the running back when they had AP. I mean, the offense was built around running and then passing down the field. So now they're running the ball, but they're also using the short passes to the running back as runs. Yep. So that's McKinnon's. That's where he's going to be hot, and we're seeing the results of it.
Good point. So real quick, Cowboys at Niners. Really all I've got in this game. So now Zeke Elliott's back in the game. Suspension is on hold for now. As much as we like CJ Beathard over there at the Niners, I'm just not going to, I think Dallas is good enough to keep them from getting their first win, and I've got them going 0-7. Although I hope not, because I wouldn't mind seeing Dallas lose another game. So I'm gonna say I like Dez Bryant this week a lot. I'm looking for Dez Bryant to blow up. I'm looking for like 100-yard 2 TD type game out of him.
I think if it's gonna happen, this is the week for it. But yeah, San Francisco, they just don't have the talent, and it sucks because they've got some young guys that are showing up, and they're building something, but they're a couple years away. I was gonna say Dez Bryant for a big fantasy performance, but I'll just add to it that Dak Prescott, man, I think this is gonna be the offense for Dallas. Zeke is gonna come back pissed off. He's gonna run angry, and so offensively, I think Dallas is gonna tear through San Francisco.
Yeah. And what's fun is they'll tear through San Francisco, and then people will get back on that hype train for Dallas and start talking about, are they legit Super Bowl contenders? I haven't seen it out of them this year. Yeah. But I haven't seen it out of them this year. I think the regression is real, and then they're going to follow this game by going to Washington next week. And I think Washington is the better team, and even if they beat the Niners, they're going to turn around and lose that one and just end up being 3-4 and still on the outside looking in. Okay. Moving on. Bengals at Pittsburgh. This is going to be a good game. The Bengals have looked a lot better since they got rid of that garbage. Bill Lazor, their OC. They've looked a ton better. Wisely, they're giving Joe Mixon, most of the carries, so they're trying to establish workhorse type situation rather than a 3-back committee. They've been targeting the hell out of AJ Green, which is what you do when you have AJ Green on your team. You throw the ball to him 15 times, and it's working. So they've been putting up points on the board. They had an abysmal start. They're now at 2-3, and one of those was really close. It was an overtime game at Green Bay. So, and that was when Aaron Rodgers was playing. So, I think Cincinnati's sneaky good, and they're going to continue to win games and be competitive. Pittsburgh just beat KC on the other side, so I'm looking at AJ Green here in this game. I think he's going to continue his role as that top 5 wideout and have a huge game. But I think Pittsburgh's kind of high right now, so I think they're going to win a close game, like a 23-20 type affair.
Okay, yeah. I agree with you on the play calling changes have been great for Andy Dalton and AJ Green. It's the results show it, but what I'm thinking is going to happen is you're going to see AJ Green get one of his deep, 50-yard bombs and start piling it up, and then Dalton's looking his way, and then Ben starts hitting Antonio Brown to match. I feel like this happens every year with these two.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, he's been getting so many yards, so many catches. And this is going to be like one of those games why you drafted him in the first round.
Yep.
I bet we see 3 touchdowns between the 2 receivers.
AB is the best. You know what? And that play against KC last week, you know what I'm talking about? The deflection. And then he took it and juked and ran up the field 50 yards. That's just what he does. That's why he's the best. And every year there's the conversation, well, is it him or is it OBJ or is it – it's just Antonio Brown until it's not. And it's been him for years. There's other guys that are like in that 1B tier, but he is 1A all alone. I love him. I just love that guy. I wish he was on my team so bad. Like, it's incredible watching him. I love watching the Steelers play just for him and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
He's elite at everything. So he's one of the fastest. He's the best route runner, hands down. No one can match up to him. He wins jump balls as a small guy.
Yeah.
I feel like every game I watch, it's either he's catching it or he's making it so the defender doesn't catch it.
Yep.
And then his run after the catch is just insane. So yeah, he is, I agree, number 1 until proven otherwise.
Yep.
And that's not happening anytime soon.
Broncos at Chargers. So the Chargers have won 2 in a row. Melvin Gordon is elite as a running back. And, like for right now, the bad luck juju it's not biting the Chargers. Denver just lost at home to the Giants, and Emmanuel Sanders is out. I mean, could the Chargers win this game? I think so.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I think is going to be like a 13-10 final score. And you're going to see Melvin Gordon getting 25 to 30 touches for like 80 yards. I think it can go to anyone, and I'm gonna roll with the Chargers right now just because I like the balance they have. And you're right, they're bad juju of like getting decimated every year. It seems like they're not right now. So their defense is tough, and just offensively they're better than Denver, and I think that's just gonna give them the upper hand. But it's gonna be a close game.
Yeah.
I honestly I don't like any fantasy player to have a big game in this, but Melvin Gordon, you play him because he's Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, especially in PPR, he's going to be catching those balls too because Phillip Rivers is going to be looking to get rid of the ball quick a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So in PPR, he's just going to have a monster week because I think he'll get in the end zone at least once. And then when you add all those catches and probably 100-ish all-purpose yards, maybe slightly less, he should still like be looking at getting over that 20 mark. So Melvin Gordon's my guy. I mean, of course, if you own Melvin Gordon, you're starting him, but I think he's going to continue his excellent campaign this year.
What's up
Yeah,
with RB
Chargers, we agree.
situation in Denver? Like, can they not figure it out?
I don't know. I think on one hand, maybe the coach is getting cute because Jamal Charles showed some stuff when he got some touches, but I mean, look, the formula that was working at the beginning of the year was just use C.J. Anderson as your workhorse. I will say this, though. Yeah. Maybe rethinking that Melvin Gordon thing. I mean, look what Orleans Darkwa just did against Denver. I mean, he ran for 113 yards, and I think we agree Melvin Gordon's way better than that. Maybe they've got some issues there, and Melvin Gordon can be way better than what we're expecting and put up like $150. It wouldn't be crazy.
It wouldn't be crazy, but I also I don't see Denver getting blown up by a running back 2 weeks in a row. They're gonna go review film and they're gonna fix it. That defense is elite, man.
I picked the Chargers to win this division in the offseason. Do I think they're going to win the division now? No, but I still think they're better than Denver. I thought Denver was the worst team coming into this year. And I don't really know who they are right now. I feel like the Chargers are starting to act like who I think they am. All right, 3 games left.
It's finally bit. Okay, go on. Yeah, you can move on.
Hawks at Giants. Look, we're nearing November. I really think that the Hawks are going to show that, take the Giants off their cloud. Giants are reeling after going into Denver and winning the way they did, but this is the Hawks' time. Like, this is where they get fired up. I think we're going to, here later in the season, we'll see some great Seahawks-Cardinals type games, but I think the Seahawks are just going to handily win this game. And Seahawks D is going to have a nice day.
Yeah, well, honestly, New York's offense, you've got Orleans Darkwa. Yeah, he looked good against Denver, and I think after this week, he's a running back to flex. But like, you have Orleans Darkwa and you have Sterling Shepard, and who else? Evan Ingram. So like the offensively, they don't have weapons now. They're decimated. And this is the time when Russell Wilson, it's always around this time, week 7, week 8, when he gets so hot with Doug Baldwin. This is a Doug Baldwin day. I don't even care that New York has Janoris Jenkins. He's going to 20 points. He's going to blow up. He's due. This is when it happens.
Fair enough. Just one of those things where there's nothing on paper that tells me Seattle's should be dominant, and other than that one game, they haven't really dominated anyone this year. However, just if we've been paying attention the last 3 years, just like you said, the D and Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin, this is where they get hot, and they started in their last game, and you know what I mean. They've lost 2 games, and it's the type of I totally expect them to go 11-5 the rest of the year and beat some tough teams, because that's just what they do until they don't. You know what I mean? It's just they're the NFC version of the Patriots for me. Like, I expect them to get really competitive and just start beating teams. Until that doesn't happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Here's another great game, or at least it should be. Super Bowl rematch. Falcons at New England. The Falcons have been struggling a little bit, but this is the type of game where I see them really putting on a show. And I could see huge points in this game. Like, you can just totally see like a 42-38 type whatever, you know what I mean? Like, down to the last drive or so in the fourth quarter. I really expect a competitive, high-scoring game. I'm going to give it to New England at home, but I like Julio to go off. I think Matt Ryan's going to target Julio early and often in this one. Give it to me.
Yeah. What did Atlanta just give up to Miami? 30 points? Over 30 points?
I think it was 20, wasn't it? Did they lose 20 to 17?
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different score. Either way, yeah, I'm with you. This is going to be high scoring. Both defenses are not playing at any sort of like a shutdown level. So New England's defense looks awful this year. And since they have Tom Brady, and the refs, they're gonna put up the points. So I think if you're playing daily like DraftKings or anything, you want as much of this game as you could possibly get. Like guys like James White and Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones. I'm gonna go with Atlanta, man. I think there's too much about wanting to come back and win after that Super Bowl loss.
I could see it.
And now they're pissed off after last week.
Yeah. And I love their offense. I mean, their backs are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Hooper's a decent tight end, but Julio, Taylor Gabriel can get some stuff done. And yeah, when Matt Ryan gets on a roll, this should be a great show. Good job to the schedule makers for putting this on Sunday night. I'm excited. Really excited.
Yeah, in prime time. Oh, it's going to be fun.
Really fun. Chris Collinsworth calling it. I love it. All right. The finale. I'm excited for this.
Oh, the show's over, right?
Yeah. You son of a bitch. Captain Cubby Leader says these guys are very biased to teams. I don't think so. Give me an example. I think, I think you and I are actually pretty, well, I'm about to show you some bias, but I think overall we're pretty objective.
I mean, it's based on our opinions, right?
Yeah. I'm just using football knowledge. But Redskins and Eagles. I will say this. I'm high on my Eagles right now, but I think the Redskins are a good team, and I am not feeling good about this game. No, I'm serious. Like, Terrell Pryor is bound to get off one of these weeks. And Josh, sorry, not Josh. Yeah, Josh Doxson. But Chris Thompson is like their leading receiver. That is a mismatch. As much as I love our linebackers, like they can do a lot of fun stuff with their offense, and I love Kirk Cousins. The only thing we've got going for us in that game is their defense is kind of decimated. Josh Norman still might not play. Bashad Breeland's out. Their Jonathan Williams, their first rounder's out. So they're beat up on defense a little bit. So if Philly can put some drives together, then they should be able to win. But I do think that Washington is the second best team in the NFC East and still a potential playoff team in the NFC. So this should be a really good game. I just hope if the Eagles lose, I hope they keep it close. As far as fantasy performers, I'm going to ride the hot hand and say Nelson Aguilar keeps his touchdown streak going. Another 6 or so catches for 70 yards and a touch.
You know what? There's going to be some guy off the street pretty much guarding him. So
yeah.
Since that secondary is so decimated, yeah, it's going to be a tough. But they do have a good pass rush, so yeah, we'll see. One thing that's kind of crazy to me is Jamison Crowder has pretty much disappeared from Washington's offense. I don't know why, and same with Jordan Reed. Like everyone still talks about you start him if he's playing. You start him. He hasn't earned that shit this year. I know he's always been awesome, but losing Sean McVay cannot be undervalued. Like as an offensive coordinator. I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's an above average quarterback. Chris Thompson is going to be the make or break for them in this game because you're good. Cousins is going to have to get rid of the ball fast. And so if Thompson's out there, all it takes is making a couple guys miss and he's gone. But I don't think it's going to be close. I think Philly's going to win 2 scores.
Well, I hope you're right.
And I'm going to say Wentz is the guy that, similar to last week, 3 touchdowns, probably 300 yards.
That'd be awesome for me because I have him in a couple fantasy leagues. Let me address a couple things in chat. So Captain Cubby Leader came back and said the example he gave was Patriots have refs. I didn't say that. Chris said that.
It was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. And I picked the Patriots to win. And if you seem new to the shows, but trust me, I give the Patriots plenty of love. And I never pick against them because you just don't pick against the Patriots. That's like, one of the constants in football. You know what I mean? They're like, I swear to God, just 12-4 just about every year. So I give them plenty of love. And then Olga said, Wayne, Bill about to shave his beard due to losing bet. I think we addressed this earlier, but Maya's not here. I'm not doing that until Maya joins. He didn't respond to any texts earlier about the show, and he never misses. So I actually am like hoping he just passed out because he got home from work and was exhausted after last night. But no, you're cool, Captain Cubby Leader. No worries. Just, you know what? Stick around, watch a few more shows. You'll see. I think we keep it pretty even. But Olga, don't worry. I'll pay up. I always pay up on my bets, but I'm not doing that when Maya's not here. That one will be right. I got to see live reaction on that.
Yeah, it takes the excitement out of it.
And my wife actually asked me to keep it until after our Vegas trip. So maybe I'll see if I can convince Maya to let me keep it 2 more weeks. Sorry, blame Maya. Don't blame me. I think that's it, though. We'll have to keep track of these picks. I want to see how we do. I feel like this was a pretty easy week to pick games, but then I picked last night wrong, so I'm already 0-1 on the week.
So whenever you feel like it's an easy week, there's a lot of games that could be tossed up, man. That's the thing. Is Arizona, LA, there could be a game like Baltimore, Minnesota, where maybe Minnesota just tanks. You never know.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
I'd love to see.
We're seeing them every week. Like I watched week 1, and I thought I took a lot of information out of it. Like, okay, I feel good. And then I went into week 2, and it didn't feel fluky. Like I picked games the way I normally do, just looking at what I know and coming up with some deductions. And I went 14 out of 16. I'm like, okay, now I didn't expect to win 14, but I'm like, a lot of my logic paid off and some things broke my way, and it's been, like 8 or 9 wins every week since. So
yeah, it's
so much parity this year. It has been such a tough year. I mean, when you look at the records throughout the league, how many 3-2 or 2-3 teams there are right now, it's hard to pick a winner that's not like, the opposing team against Cleveland or the opposing team against San Fran. You know what I mean? There's so many. Because you're right. Atlanta absolutely could win that game against New England. Washington absolutely could win against Philly. Cincinnati could beat Pittsburgh. All these things could happen. It's been tough. It's been tough to pick this year. I'm hoping things start to separate because I'm in some of my own pick'em leagues as well, and I want to win some more money. So,
when's the last time week 7 just week 7 rolled around and you didn't have any undefeated teams, or you didn't have more than one team with 1 loss or less. Like, it's I don't remember last time I saw this.
Yeah. There's some of the divisions are still like so close where there's 3 teams in the division that you go, they could still win, and I wouldn't be surprised. NFC East is one of them. Look, I'm an Eagles lover, but I believe in Washington, and I'm still not convinced that Dallas isn't good. I don't think they've been what they were last year, but they still have a lot of those pieces in place. That O-line could start clicking again, and if Zeke Elliott stays in the whole season, then they could start controlling that game again. So, yeah, there's still a lot to figure out, but we'll keep looking at it each week and see what we come up with. In the meantime, I think we're giving good fantasy advice, though. Most of our calls on fantasy are right. I feel like we're in the 75% range, which is better than Matthew Berry on giving good, accurate fantasy advice. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, pay attention to that. We can tell you who your starters and sitters are. For sure.
We've been doing it long enough that we can get that right.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's 11:30. I think we're going to call it. Got anything you want to add before we go?
Everyone have a great weekend. If you're gambling, Team Christ. And if you're watching football, go Jags.
Go Jags. Go Eagles. We'll be back Tuesday to talk about the Monday night game, and hopefully I'm celebrating another Eagles win. All right, well, I'm tired. I got to work tomorrow. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you back on the channels on Tuesday. Until then, have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the foosball. See ya.
See you guys.